Something on STEEZ going on, yes Lord, bringing you round 16 tips, man. The last round that we have buys for in the middle, well, before finals. So just 7 games that we have this week, man. The teams on break being Essendon, who was on break? Essendon, Brisbane, Geelong, and GWS. So some good teams in there, man. So we may be subjected to a little bit of lower quality of footy this week, but I guess we only time will tell that. So without further ado, man, let's just go ahead and get into the games, man. First game of the round being Port Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval against Carlton Blues, man. Shit, man. It's just gonna take a lot for me to even consider tipping Carlton, man. Just can't tip them boys, man. Piss poor effort against North, bro. Completely unacceptable, man. Really got took to the cleaners last week. Port also lost, but to a Sydney team that looked to be gaining some form and look back to, they fielded they're probably the strongest side of the season, getting closer and closer back to 100%. So I do think Sydney should be looking, it is more respectable nowadays. As long as their health still stays what it is. So I do think it's a little bit less shame of Port Adelaide lost to Sydney than it is Carlton to North, considering that Carlton really smoked North by a large amount of points, by a large deficit earlier in the season, and just didn't quite look up to it, man. Charlie was in doubt in the game, ended up playing anyway, but really didn't look to be himself, bro. And didn't put much of an effort forward, man. So there's no way I can really tip Carlton this week, man. I do think Port has the midfield to contend against Carlton. They're short Illyr last week, so it's not like they're not without players as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and tip Port this week. Also, home ground advantage plays a little bit of factor here to some degree, maybe not to a large degree, but at the end of the day, that's what it is. Friday night footy, there's one game we have is Sydney hosting the Bulldogs at the SCG. Like I said, Sydney putting together one of the stronger sides this season. Last match, so it looks like going forward they should be on paper. They should be more competitive going forward. I think I'm still gonna go to Dogs though this matchup. Sam Darcy has changed the dynamic of that team. Looked good against Richmond as well. Granted, it is Richmond, but Sydney Sydney has had games where they looked about Richmond level. So I think I'm gonna go Western Bulldogs. I do just rate them a little bit better. Need to see a little bit more consistency with Sydney. Need to see him do it for multiple weeks at a time. Errol Golden, he's back and he has a large impact, but I don't think large enough right now at the moment for me to go ahead and go against the Dogs this week. So I'm gonna go the Bulldogs there. Next game we have Gold Coast versus Melbourne. Gold Coast was up, man. They ended up shitting the bed against GWS, losing the game at the end of the time. Losing the game. It's tough to tip Gold Coast, man. But I don't know, there is a little bit of a stigma as far as being able to, as far as losing after your bye is what I noticed this season. Gold Coast hasn't been in strong form even before their bye, the week before last. So I'm not quite sure, but the irony is Melbourne's coming off a bye. So will I continue the trend? I think I will go Gold Coast, man. Maybe I have a little bit of hope for them to return to form that they had earlier in the season. And we're just gonna go ahead and see if the loss after the bye continues, minus Rio, because they bucked the trend a couple weeks ago. So I'm gonna go Gold Coast there to start off Saturday night footy. The next game we have Hawthorn versus North. Although North beat Carlton, I don't think that was very impressive a win considering how shit Carlton has been, and hopefully not as shit as they will be. I don't think it was like a great feat for them. I do think the Hawks should end up winning this game pretty comfortably, man. Looks like I am going against the tips as far as tipping the team after a bye. I just think the gap is just a little too large here for me to tip North. It isn't Tassie, so Both teams used to playing there, I think. So I think I'm gonna go with the Hawthorne Hawks this week, man. Next, we have Collingwood versus the West Coast Eagles, and this one's pretty easy for me to tip. I'm gonna tip Collingwood over West Coast all day, man. It's just repeating the same shit over and over again. Collingwood is just way too competitive, way too good, way too clean with the footy. Pressure way too good as well, way too high. And I think it might be West Coast is probably likely in for a long day in this particular game. The last team on the ladder right now going against number one. So, unless Collingwood end up taking a day off and all 23 players just agree to have shitty performances, there's no way in the world that I can tip West Coast going against Collingwood. So easy tip for me. Collingwood at home at Marvel. Richmond versus Adelaide. I do think this is probably another gap too large to bridge for Richmond, although they are at the MCG. I'm gonna go Adelaide. I think their forward line is just too good. I think their ball movement is just too good. Fourth on the ladder versus 17. It's a large gap, man. I do think I would, as far as ladder positioning, I probably would say that Adelaide is probably a top 4 team. I mean, obviously there's parity in their game as far as their best and their worst. There's a large gap within that. So they do have potential to fall at the top 4, but I do think Adelaide is just a bit too good for Richmond, who doesn't quite play complete games. And yeah, they're just a bit injured as well. There's just, hate to say it, but there's only so many games Prestia can play before getting hurt with this soft tissue injury history, man. So although he does have an impact there, I do think that that midfield and defense isn't quite good enough to be able to deal with the attacking style of Adelaide. So I'm gonna go Adelaide on the road at the MCG against Richmond. And final game of the round, we have Freo versus St Kilda. St Kilda's 15th on the ladder, man. I always want to give them just a little bit of grace for whatever reason. Freo at Optus Stadium, they're 6 right now. I can see them falling out to 8, man, but I can also see them staying on the lower half of the ladder, well, lower half of the 8. But I guess this is safer tip here is Freo, man. Luke Jackson, ever since he's come back, bro, he's had a huge impact there. Makes me question Sean Darcy's position within the playing group. It doesn't seem like they really need him if they have Luke Jackson there. And yeah, they just have a handful of pieces that seem to work well together. Shea Bolton has been playing great. He's been having a great year overall, man. I didn't quite expect this type of impact coming over from Richmond to spread to Freo. But I don't really like him too much as a player. But I can't deny that he has been great for them, man. I don't think Freo can really ask much more of Shea Bolton over there, and I think he makes a great. He's going to be a handful for for St. Kilda to really handle, man. So I do think it's going to take a colossal effort. Max King still isn't there, man. He had another surgery, I believe, so he's out for the rest of the season. So it's just another forward down there that they won't have to put pressure on the Freo defense, and Freo has a good defense down there. So, man, I think the cards are stacked against St. Kilda this game. So I think the safe tip here will be the Fremantle Dockers, man. Yeah, quickly wrap that up, man. It doesn't look like really too many competitive games this week, unfortunately, man. So I guess all we can do is hope and pray and hope that the footy gods bless us, man, with some entertaining contests this week, man. So without further ado, man, I'm gonna wrap this up, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube shit. If you agree with some of my tips, let me know which ones you agree with. If you think I'm off base, don't be afraid to let me know if you think I'm wrong there, man. If there's any points that you want to make contesting my tips, I'm definitely keen to hear what you got to say. I always like to open up my perspective a little bit, change my mind potentially, and yeah, man, that's all I got for you in tips round 16, man. We'll see how wrong I am this week. It's long.